Yes, hopefully it's like every time I try to upload and talk about my ex, it's like this phone keep playing with me. I finally got a camera, Polaroid camera for my YouTube channel. They did not sell me the SIM card, so I had to order it on Amazon, and that's coming on Friday. So I can't use my new camera, guys, until after Friday. And then I don't know what I'm gonna talk about after that. But comment, like, and subscribe. All right. If y'all want me to keep doing videos, y'all gotta comment, give me feedback, say something. Right? So I'm at 520 subscribers or something like that. 530, I think. Yeah, so somebody watching me, or y'all just subscribing. Like, do y'all not watch my channel? I don't know, but I'm not getting a lot of views here lately. But yeah, so let me know what y'all want to talk about. I'll do a subscriber diaries. Y'all can email me, but I need feedback. I need you to comment, like, and subscribe. I need you to comment. I need you to request topics that you want me to talk about. This is going to be my last personal story time, because I just don't have any more to talk about. Like, I talked about my former friends. I talked about my psycho exes. It's different guys that I dated, but it wasn't that juicy. I talked about the broke businessman. I told y'all about the military man. And now I'm telling y'all about the OG, my current, well, recent ex. I'm running out of stories to talk about myself, so y'all gotta bring the stories to me. All right? Yeah, I'm running out of tea, y'all. I'm running out of tea, so y'all gotta give me some more tea. I mean, I could talk about my family, whatever, but y'all gotta let me know in the comments, what do y'all want me to talk about? What y'all want me to talk about? Right now, you know, my life is a little boring. You know, I just go to work, I come back home. That's nothing to really talk about. Yeah, so this is part 2 of the OG. So I wanted to talk to my young ladies, 40 and under. If you are dating a young, an older man, it is not a flex. He is using you for his own fetishes. 9 times out of, like 10 out of 10. Like, I don't care what they told you. I don't care. Like, he's using you, right? So, and if you dig deep into their past, you are not their first young girl. This is something that they've been doing for a long time. A lot of these men, they don't even like women, the way they treat them, you know, or the way they talk about them, right? It might be a fetish or a curse in their family. Their family does it, so then they do it, right? So you got to really pay attention to these type of men, because they are weird. Like, they are just, you know, they don't want their daughters to know that they're into that type of stuff. So, you know, and it's good to, like, listen to what they say. Like, this particular guy, he always talked about the younger celebrities. He was like Erica Mena, Rihanna. I'm like, well, what about J-Lo? He's like, he didn't think J-Lo was attractive. You know, just older celebrities he just didn't find attractive. And that was just a test. That was just to show you, like, yeah, he likes young women. And that's an issue, because his daughter was only 2 years younger than me. You know, so that's a little gross. You know, you're dating someone that, like I said, I did not know how old he was. And it's like, some of y'all might, well, why did you keep seeing him? I kept seeing him because I didn't want to be alone. You know, I didn't want to be alone. And like I said, I did break up with him and to see other people, but it wasn't worth it. So I went back to him. And recently I blocked him for good in September of this year. So this is still a healing process for me. This is still, you know, whatever. And he admitted that I'm the daughter that he always wanted. Like, his daughter was a lawyer, but his daughter, they didn't have the best relationship. So the way I treated my dad, that's how he wanted his daughter to treat him. And it's like, I felt bad for him. And that's not my problem, though. Like, you know, so that's one thing I would say. Like, he did go hard for his daughters. He will go above and beyond for their education. And I wish I had that, because I had to push myself through school. And I feel like a lot of the things that I went through is because of lack of parental guidance, lack of my, a lot of people have their parents helping them. I don't have nobody helping me. It's just people, thank God, give me resources and tell me different things, and I go by that. But I don't have like an inheritance going on. I don't have none of that. It's all on me. So yeah, so a lot of people do things because of how they was raised. I know for a fact that he was doing this, being like a little predator, because his stepdad was a predator. His stepdad was in his 30s when he got with his mother that was 19. He abused her and stuff, and he saw that. So now he never put his hands on me, because I told him if he ever did, I would knock him out and I'd be in jail. But he used to brag about it. He used to, oh, I beat bitches. I'm like, what? Like, the stuff that used to come out this man's mouth was just so weird. I'ma tell y'all. Like, that's why I said I got my water. Grab your tea, grab your wine, because this is going to take a long time. So yeah, part 2. Where was I? Yeah, so his brother kicks him out or whatever, which I do not blame him. So he's at his kid's mom. By the way, he was legally married. So the reason why I was okay with it, because I felt like, okay, he was living with his brother, he older. I never in my life dated a man that was married. I'm telling you, I never did this. Because I always had my friends to reference and what they went through, and I never wanted, and then just in general, like, ill, right? I never dated a guy with kids. I went out on a date with a guy who had a daughter, but he had like controlling tendencies, and he moved to PA, and I wasn't with it. And then there was another guy, his name was Clemente, that I met at my 22nd birthday. He was the bouncer, and he was a weirdo. But I never really like relationship dated until this guy. So, and I figured, oh, his kids are older, whatever, cool, whatever, right? So, yeah, so his brother kicks him out. I actually helped him look for an apartment, but it wasn't to his liking. It was a basement apartment he could have got. He didn't want it. He was upset that his brother wasn't helping him find a place. But it's like, I didn't blame him, because it's like, look what you brought. You saved up $20,000 to get a car that you don't need. Like, you don't need a Jaguar, bro. Like, that's not a necessity, bro. Like, but, so his kid's mom moves out of state. He claims it's because when she found out about me and my age, that's why she moved away. Like, what? Like, okay, whatever. But he was still giving her money. So one day, because he gave my son an iPad, so I'm looking through the iPad just to see what my son is up to, because I'm the type of parent, I want to see everything, I go in. So I'm looking through the iPad and stuff, and I see them being flirty with each other on his birthday, and he sent her money or whatever. And I was like, you stupid. Like, she's really, like, really on your birthday? Like, whatever, you sending money to her. And it was funny because he was like, oh, I love you, being flirty, whatever. And she goes, where's my Western Union? On his birthday. So I'm like, you trying to play me with your ex, but she's worried about money. She's not worried about you, right? So I thought that was funny. And naturally, yeah, that upset me and stuff like that. And that was after another incident. So 2020, that's when he moved into the back to the apartment that he shared with her. And I allowed it, and I was with him. And that should have been the last straw for me, but it wasn't. So, I'm not allowed to come to the apartment at this point. He's like, oh, it's pictures and stuff around. And I'm like, there was a guy, I'll never forget it, but I have to compare it. There was a guy that I met at a thrift store, and he was married, and he actually was living with his, like, he was very honest. He was like, I sell drugs, I live with my wife, da 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 da. But he still, like, invited me over, and I said, no, I don't want to get involved with you, and you live with someone, whatever. But I thought about it. Now, he was married, like, they were together, everything like that, right? But he still invited me over because it was a sense of, he at least thought of me to say, yeah, you're good enough to come over. I don't know if y'all could understand that. But somebody that I was supposed to be dating, and he claimed they wasn't together, he was saying, I can't come over because his younger daughter that don't pay no bills, oh, she don't want you over. Like, what? What? Like, it didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, at the time, she was really young. We talking like 16, 17. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I allowed it like a dummy, you know. So he's telling me he's not with her. SpongeBob confirms it, that they're not together. There's pictures of her in another state. Okay, cool. Right? And he was on the phone with me all the time. So that's how I see it. I was like, okay. So COVID happens. He's at my house like 6 days a week. Finally the summertime comes, and I ask him, I'm like, you know, can you contribute to the groceries? He says no. After that, he didn't really come around as much. Like, I still was seeing him, but he wasn't like coming over as much. He claimed like, oh, I have to wake my daughter up for school, right? When the kids went back to school, he's like, I gotta wake her up for school. All this bullshit, right? Okay. And I told him, I said, watch when she graduate, you still gonna make an excuse. And sure enough, she graduated when me and my son graduated, because me and my son graduated together. He graduated from 8th. I graduated with my bachelor's last year, 22. Sure enough, he was like, oh, I'm taking real estate classes, and whatchamacallit, I'm taking, you know, he's like, I'm taking real estate classes, and what he was like, I'm taking real estate classes, so I can't spend the night. Then after that, something happened. He still couldn't spend the night, so he just kept making excuses as to why he couldn't spend the night with me. So I'm like, yo, why are you acting like a married man? Like, now you acting like a married man for real. And now I'm getting suspicious, right? So you know, he always complimented me on my shape, saying I had big titties, a big fat ass. And I was like, my stuff is not that big, like, you know, but he's used to, he was like, how she don't have no shape. And I seen it for myself, like, she has no shape. Her face is not that cute, and her nose is, and not to compare myself, but I understand when he said he wasn't attracted to her anymore or whatever, I believed him, because she didn't look like much, like, she dressed weird, like, you know, all of that. So, and then the brother confirmed it too, like, yeah, da 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 da, it's not even her age, it's just like everything about her is whack, like, she almost 60, still smoking weed, like, all of that stuff, like, he just wasn't attracted to. Like, she just want to sit around the house, she doesn't want to work, she haven't worked in like 20 years, you know, all of this I'm hearing from SpongeBob too. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Oh, then they had a funeral that I wasn't invited to, and it was his niece, the baby had passed away. So he was like, how she approached him and was like, oh, who are you seeing? Like, who are you messing around with? And he said that he lied to her. So I'm like, not even lied to her. He just said nobody. Well, yeah, lied. I said, why you ain't tell her that you was seeing someone? He was like, oh, that's not the time or the place. I said, yeah, but at the end of the day, you lied to her when y'all was together, so the least you could do is be truthful with her now. And yeah, she might be wrong for where she approached you, but it's common courtesy, like, you know. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then SpongeBob, he confirms, yes, you know, she's crazy, this, that, and the third, whatever, whatever. Right? So I'm like, okay. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, what is he doing to make her crazy? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, and I told him, I said, you picked her. This is not someone, it's not like my situation. It's not like you hit it and quit it. Like, I hit it and I quit it. You know, I was, you know, very honest. Like, listen, I'm not interested, blah, blah, blah. And I moved on with my life. I didn't sit there and date him and try to change him and then want to call him crazy. Like, no. At the end of the day, I moved on, whatever. Like, I knew at 19 that's not what I wanted for my life. So, but you dated this woman, you married her, you want to call her crazy? Like, okay, what is it about you that made her crazy? I always had that in the back of my mind. And she's my sign, Pisces, so she have to have a reason, you know. I'm 12, she's the 5th. His daughter was like the 4th or something, or 3rd. But or did she say she was the 8th? But anyway, she was before the double digits. I'm 12. She was like 8 or 9. The daughter was like 3 or 4 in March, whatever, something like that. He was April 12th. He's an Aries. But yeah. So I'm like, it was just weird to me. I kept it in the back of my head, whatever. So time goes on. Finally, February 2021. I'm at work texting, and suddenly I get a message saying my name is Mrs. OG, and OG and I are not getting divorced. You need to get checked because he goes to DR every year, and blah 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 blah. Right? We love each other, all of this stuff, right? She blocked me so I couldn't respond to her. And that's what really infuriated me. I'm like, first of all, how does bitch even know my name? Like, my last name is hard to find. Very hard to find. Like, this is before I had a YouTube channel. This is before all of this. Like, I had a Facebook. But you know, my last name, you gotta know me to look for me. It's not like you could just find me easy. So the fact that she knew my last name, it was weird to me. So when I asked him, I was like, yo, how the fuck she know my name? Like, what do you, like, this is weird. He's like, oh, he gave my number to his daughter. I'm like, why would you do that? We never met. So he's like, oh, I gave it to her for just in case, because when I be with you, she'll know how to contact me. I said, why she just can't call your phone? He's like, well, say if my phone is dead or whatever, she can call you, whatever. I said, well, you should have ran that by me, and I don't feel comfortable because look what happened. You know, so basically his theory was the daughter gave the number to the mother, and the mother looked me up and found my first and last name on Facebook. And I'm like, really? Like, wow, you know. So looked me up, found me or whatever, and messaged me. And I was very upset. And to the point, I went and ran my mouth off to SpongeBob. I was telling him everything that he told me. And so he ran and told the older daughter. And so they stopped talking, whatever. He severed his own relationship with his own nieces or whatever. That was stupid. And so yeah, it was just a real messy situation. But regardless of that, I still booked a room. Like, I booked a room for us for Valentine's Day. Do you know this nigga didn't give me no gift? And Valentine's Day, like the actual day, he's like, oh, I gotta go to my daughter. And I'm like, what? Like, huh? He's like, oh yeah, mind you, she's like 16, 17. He claimed, oh, well, she's autistic, this and that, she don't have no friends. And I told her I was going to be with her for Valentine's Day. I just didn't believe it because why are you telling me this last minute? Like, you just, it's bad enough you didn't even pay for this room. I booked it after the situation. Like, you should be kissing my ass after what you put me through. The fact of your kid's mom messaging me and that whole situation, like, yeah, I said some things that I maybe shouldn't have said to SpongeBob, but bottom line is you caused it. He admitted that. I was like, why would she message me? He admitted and said he was blowing up her phone and her boyfriend's phone. I said, well, why would you do that? So basically it was like, you didn't want her, you was doing you, and so now that she moved on, you want her back now? Like, oh, well, she wasn't coming through to visit our daughter. I said, your daughter almost grown and she's grown. That's a relationship that's between mother and daughter. If she wants a relationship with her daughter, there's nothing you could do. Like, that has nothing to do with you. You blowing up her phone, that's not gonna make her come see her. Like, that, it just didn't make sense to me because I would never call my son father for any reason. Like, for real. Like, I don't call him at all. I've never called him. And then it's, to just keep the peace, because he's a lot of drama. He is the type, he used to ask me, like, oh, who you messing with and this and that. Very nosy and disrespectful. So, I can't relate at all because it's like you're causing drama. And I said that to him. I said, if y'all cannot co-parent without the drama, y'all need to just not talk to each other. Like that it's like, it's like he wanted that type of drama in his life. It was him, He even had his brother SpongeBob fooled. So I told his brother, he told me when he met his daughter's mother, she had a son when they met, and they agreed to not tell the boy who his real dad was until he was 16. The cycle continued. It happened to him, and then he met someone that did the same thing. And then I'm like, well, and then he admitted that when his second daughter was conceived, he wasn't around. I said, so the fact that she lied to the other guy and didn't know who her baby daddy was for her son, what makes you think that she's so faithful to you and you actually shitted on her? Like, I wouldn't blame her if she got pregnant by the next nigga and pinning it on you. I would not blame her for that. It's fucked up, but I would not blame her because he was gone for so long, weeks and months at a time, just being selfish. Yeah, so, and I told him, I said, if you had any doubt in your mind, you should have got a DNA test from when they was first born. Now it's too late. One of them is 32 and the other one is 19. Like, now it's too late. Now it's like, okay, it's way too late. You already done raised them, whatever. It's too late. So, yeah. So, yeah, I had shared that information with SpongeBob, which I know I was wrong for that, but I was so upset at what she did. She messaged me and I couldn't even respond, and I knew that was Jerome's doing. Oh, I slipped and said his name. That was OG's doing. So that was his doing, and it's like, I was very upset. And even after being upset, I still was okay with the whole booking the room and stuff. And I was like, this is Valentine's Day, I don't want to be alone, and we planned this for weeks that we was going go to Connecticut, where did we go, Jersey, one of them, and for the weekend and stuff. And then I don't even think we went out to eat. We just went to the hotel and got takeout, I think. Like, it wasn't special at all. Like, it was horrible. And it's like, he act like he didn't want to be there. He didn't give me any gift. And that's another thing. 2019, 2020, 2021, and 22. And I think this year too, I had to beg him for gifts. Like, if I didn't tell him to give me a gift, he wouldn't have given me a gift. That's a part that my son don't know. So, but yeah, it was just a very unromantic relationship. Like, you know, he made an effort up until a certain point, and then like after he took me to the Poconos in 2019, that's when stuff started to go downhill. It was weird. Like, he was just weird. He would always act weird. When I was in school, I had to go to classes in Westchester that was beyond my control. He never wanted to take me. He will always be like, oh, I took you to class. And I'm like, first of all, I put gas in the car. Second of all, most of the time I took Metro North in an Uber. And that's what ran up my credit card, the Uber. Because every time I call them, they like, you took a lot of Uber. I say, yeah, I was going to class. I was going to school in Westchester. And it was crazy. It's like he had a car and he was available. It's not like he wasn't available to take me. He didn't want to take me most of the time. I'm like, and he tried to deny it. I was like, I have receipts that I took the Metro North and Uber most of the time. So it was just really ridiculous with him. You know, he didn't want to pick me up from work. I would be on my feet all day doing security. Because like when they laid us off, I didn't know what was going on. So I went to security. And, you know, there was times when I worked from till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock sometimes. He didn't want to pick me up. He was just so reluctant. And I had to always beg him, like, come pick me up from work. Like, what the hell? I just couldn't understand that. Like, I'm at work. Come pick me up. You should want to pick me up. I shouldn't even have to ask you to pick me up. It was just really strange with him. And then even with Westchester, it's only a half an hour from Harlem. He lived in Harlem, right? And he had me meet him in Harlem early in the morning. He didn't spend the night at my house. So he had me meet him in Harlem, and then he would drive me a half an hour, and he would complain about that. He's like, you making me get tickets and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how am I making you get tickets? Like, you're supposed to have an easy pass. You drive to Connecticut all the time. And that was another thing. So his car, his Jaguar, had a Connecticut license plate. It was this girl that he knew from, the girl that he messed with before me. Sister lived in Connecticut. She let him use her address. And then one day she said, no, you can't use it. I said, well, what did you do that all of a sudden you can't use her address? That was weird, right? So I suspected something was going on, because it's like every time he would go over there to help out, she would pop up pregnant. So as far as I know, he's the father. I really don't know. I don't know. But he would give her money. I said, like, why are you giving her money? Oh, because she let me use her address. How does that make sense? Like, he just always giving people money. He never gave me no money. Never. He gave me money to get my hair done 2 times, and that's because I demanded it, right? So, yeah, like, so I'm like, okay, you give her money because she let you use her address. Okay, whatever, boom. So every time she would pop up pregnant, she would move. She was pregnant twice, and I'm like, well, where's the children's father? Like, she pregnant again? Okay, where's the second baby daddy? Why is it that you have to? And I'll never forget one particular night, we actually had plans to go out somewhere. He cancels plans with me to go help her move. And I'm like, what? Like, he's like, oh yeah, I gotta go to Connecticut. And then he helped her move the next day. I'm like, why are you going there 2 days in a row? Like, you doing too much. I'm like, I know for a fact that if I was moving, he would make an excuse and say he can't make it. Like, I know him. I know him. And that's what pissed me off. He would go over and beyond for other people, but never for me. Never for me. And I have so many examples. It's like, I might forget. But yeah, so this year, I'm gonna go back to 2021. But in 2023, March, my son went to Virginia. I know I put it up, of stepping competition. So I'm texting him. I'm on the phone with him the whole bus ride. I'm like, yo, can you pick us up from the school and take us home? Do you not know that he did not want to send an Uber? Now he has a car. He claimed he was busy, whatever he was doing. He wasn't doing anything. He was on the phone with me. So it's like, what are you doing? But he was just lazy, didn't want to come pick us up. I said, okay, send an Uber. He gonna say, oh, if tables was turned, you wouldn't do it. I said, what are you talking about? I put you in an Uber plenty of times. I've given you gas money. You've never paid me back for gas money. So what are you talking about? Me and my son are coming back from Virginia, right? You knew this for weeks, that we was going to Virginia. He had a competition. Do you really think that we want to take the train? You think that that's nice? That my son, it's not even like I'm by myself. I'm with my son. Don't you think he have luggage? I have luggage. We're coming from Virginia, right? So you should be like, oh, where you at? I'm gonna come get you. That's what a gentleman would do, right? That's what a gentleman would do. A gentleman will come and pick us up or say, hey, do you need a ride or something? You know what I mean? And I just couldn't understand it. He's like didn't want to send me a Uber. And then he goes, oh, you lucky it's close by. I'm lucky it's close by? Just the way he was talking to me like I did something to him. I'm like, what did I ever do to you that it's Sunday night? Everybody knows that Sunday night, public transportation is not reliable. But regardless of the fact, we're coming from Virginia. We're coming from Virginia, okay? We've been on the bus for hours, for a very long time. And I'm on the phone with you, and you know this. And I could see if I was a chick that never supported you. I could see if I was a chick that was just never did nothing for you. I got him a blazer. I got him a shirt. I got him dresses. When he needed to borrow money, I let him borrow money. I put gas in the car. Like, he even would joke about it. Like, I'm too good to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and mind you, I don't make a bunch of money. He's the one who had 3 sources of income. He worked at the Brooklyn Law School. He fucking did taxes on the side, made very good money doing that, and worked at either Amazon or always had a third job, right? He always had 3 hustles as long as I was dealing with him, right? Me, I only have 1 income. I'm an assistant teacher, aka para. But for those who don't know what a para is, it's an assistant teacher. We work with the teachers in the classroom, right? I don't make a bunch of money. I live in public housing because I can't afford a real apartment. I'm not him. I'm not living in the projects because I'm ghetto fabulous and I'm taking 6 trips a year and drive a Jaguar. Like, he literally would travel a lot. He really did. I travel once a year. I save money. I don't live beyond my means. But it's like he never wanted to help me out. And I just don't understand where that comes from. It's just like resentment or whatever. And it's like, and I would tell him, like, if you're not feeling me, then bye. Like, why are we doing this? Why is it that you don't want to pick me up from work? You don't want to take me to work. You don't want to do anything for me. When Valentine's Day come around, I got to tell you to buy me stuff. One particular year, he tells me that my teddy bear came from the Africans on the street corner. He told me this. He's like, oh, I got that from the street. And started laughing. Like, that's what you think about me? Like, that's That's what you think. Like, if somebody did that for your daughter, and I asked him, I said, the way you do me, if somebody did your daughters like that, how would you feel? You know what he said? Oh, they stupid. So he was basically telling me stupid. I was stupid for dealing with him. And it's like, you always say that you're so attracted to me and you love me. And it's like, if this is how you treat somebody you love, I would hate to see how you treat someone that you hate. You love me and this is how you treat me. You don't want to take me to school. I have to take a Metro North and Uber in the mornings. And it was very expensive. It ran up my credit card that I'm still paying today. This bed frame that y'all see, that's nice. I paid for it myself. I had another bed that was nice. It was brown. We broke it, you know, whatever, it happens. And he didn't give me a dime to pay for it. I was waiting for him to help me pay for the next one. Never did. You know, it's crazy. So back to 2021. So after that incident, you know, he didn't, he did not, you know, spend Valentine's Day with me. He left me and said he's going to be with his daughter, whatever. Even when I told his friend, because I was so frustrated, like I started venting out to his friend. Well, not even his friend, his client. He said it was his client. Now it was SpongeBob's friend. I was telling her and she was like, oh, that's really terrible. She's like, that's crazy. Like, da-da-da-da. Like, why is he acting like this? Like, I was like, yeah, I don't know why he's acting like this. Like, he act like he don't want to be with me. So it's like, don't be with me then. Like, you're not doing me a solid. You're not doing, like, I'm breaking up with you. And then it's like, you beg me back to treat me worse. Because every time I took him back, it would literally get worse. So that was 2021. 2022 rolls around. The new thing he started doing was prison calls. So he would call me and we would talk for 10 minutes and he said he gotta go. At first I respected it because I knew he was a busy person. But then I started saying, if you have to go, do not call me. Like, I was telling him that if you have to go, don't call me, because what point is that? A prison call, you know? And he would be like, oh, but somebody else is on the other line. Tell that motherfucker you on the phone with me. I said, you the only person who does this to me. If it's my father or any friend or anybody, they be like, hold on, Crystal. Even my cousin, you know, she's a weirdo or whatever. She'll be like, hold on, Crystal, somebody's calling me, right? I'm going to tell them I'm on the phone with you and I'm going to call you back. That's what everybody in my life does. If they on the phone with me first, that other person has to wait. And he never did that. He never did that. It's like he was looking for an excuse to not talk to me. One time we were in a car, kid y'all not. We're in the car and he actually did this more than once. I'm talking and he raises the volume on the radio. So I'm like in denial. I'm like, he's not doing this to me, like whatever. But that's, ladies, if that happens to you and y'all in the car, he's not interested in nothing you have to say. So it's like, so why, like, you're not interested in me. You're not interested in anything I have to say. You treat me like shit. You don't help me. What the fuck are we? So I'm just like a vagina to you. That's it. That's all. You know, I'm just a piece of meat, basically. You know, and it's like, I didn't even enjoy it. At first it was good, and it started to, like I said, he wasn't circumcised. He had weird smells, and my friend put me on. She's younger than me, but you know, she be wise too. You know, she got a little wisdom. She's like, Crystal, he's messing with other bitches and they don't wash, and that's what happened. I'm like, ew. You know, like, really? You know? And it was just, it's like, why am I doing this? You know? Um, last straw for me, where I was like, okay, I'm really done. So, October 2022, I told him that I was making an Instagram to promote my book. I told him this, right? And I was like, it's a friend, long lost friend. I haven't seen her in years, and I was looking for her too. Like, she kind of like did away with all of us. Her best friend didn't hear from her. It was crazy. So I'm looking for this girl, and I'm promoting my book. And so I see him, people you may know, right? So I go on it, and he posts a picture with his ex. Bro, I was livid. I was like, you're such a fucking liar. You're saying that she's crazy and y'all are not together, but you posted this picture. You know what this nigga said? This nigga said it was a joke. Oh, it's a joke. What's funny about that? What's funny about you posting a picture with her? What's funny about that? Because I'm not laughing. So I told him, I said, take the picture down, right? Take it down. If it means nothing, take it down. He goes, I don't know how to take it down. Now, let me tell y'all, he was an OG. He was an older person, but he was very, very, very tech savvy. Example one, when my laptop had a virus, he cleaned it. He whatever he did, he fixed it. I didn't have to pay a dime to go to SeatGeek or anything. He fixed it himself. He very tech savvy. He got me a TV because I didn't have one. A smart TV, right? So he fixed it. No, he downloaded the Fire Stick, and there's a way that you do it. A lot of people don't know how to do it, but he knew how to do that shit. The Fire Stick, because a lot of people used to ask me like, how do you get Fire Stick to, I said, I don't know. My boyfriend, he's very tech savvy and he breaks into the system. There's actually like a YouTube video that he followed to do it, but you gotta know what you're doing to like whatever he did, right? So, and that's the one reason why I held on to his number. I was like, just in case if I have another virus, but fuck him, I'll just pay SeatGeek whatever I gotta do. But he was very tech savvy, so when he was like, oh, I don't know how to delete it, I knew he was lying. Plus, I showed him. I told him over the phone. I showed him face to face, and I sent a screenshot to his phone. This is what you do, right? And he never took it down. Never took it down. So it's like, wow. So then I went to her page. I was being a little nosy. She did not post him at all. Like, she did not post him. Actually, she was like talking about him, and it was like subliminals and stuff like that, how she's getting over him or whatever. But then she would put my husband, happy birthday to my husband, and he would say my wife. And I remember he used to say that, and I said, why you keep saying my wife? Like, don't say that around me. Say kid's mom. I would tell him, I said, are y'all together? No. So why you keep saying my wife? Like, that used to irritate my soul. Like, why you keep saying that? Are y'all together? Say your kid's mom. You know. So then I realized, for me to tell him to take down a picture with his wife, I started watching Love and Hip Hop. And Love and Hip Hop is such a good show, because it's almost like a mirror image sometimes of what you may be going through. So the Tyra shit was 10 times worse, because he didn't get married on me. He was married before he met me. So I don't have kids with him or nothing like that. But there was a scene where Tyra was being very delusional. She was telling Peter Gunz, I remember y'all, I don't know if y'all remember that. She was telling him, stop wearing your ring. Like, he had got married, and Amina was like, wear your ring. Like any wife, wear your ring, right? So she's telling him, why you wearing your ring? Da 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 da. Or why y'all posting pictures together? So it was like a similar thing. And I said, Crystal, how you going to tell him to take down a picture with his wife? I sound like the crazy person, right? So I took myself out the situation. I said, you know what? And I told him, I said, if you're happy, go be happy with her. Don't try to say, oh, y'all are done when y'all are not really done. Why drag me into the mess? Why try to? And that explains his movement. That explains his nonchalant attitude. That explains a lot of things in our relationship that I just couldn't figure out. You can't spend the night because she probably was over there some nights. And you trying to get back with her. And she's telling you this is what you need to do. The day when Valentine's Day, you wasn't with your daughter. You was probably with her. So things started to add up. Like, okay, you know, when we was together for New Year's Eve, he was like, oh, I'm supposed to be with my daughters and this and that. And I'm like, what? Why can't we spend no holidays together? In 3 years, y'all, we spent one Thanksgiving together. That's not a relationship. Like, that's not, like, I call him my ex, but it's not really, that wasn't really what I would consider a mature relationship. My mature relationship was with the military guy. Like, that was a mature relationship. I don't know what he was doing outside of me, but, you know, family functions and stuff, I was there. You know, I was there with his mama, whatever, you know. Family didn't even know we was broken up. You know, so but yeah, so mind you, and every time I told this story to somebody, they was like, well, how old is he? He sounds super young. Is he like 25? No, this nigga 57. That's what makes the story so sad and so like, what the fuck? Yeah. And yeah, it's just, it got too much. And the last time we did anything was July of this year, and we went to meet Mita from Love and Hip Hop. And I was like, I told him that, you know, it was somebody on my job that I was feeling him, and we became intimate. Like, I told him, because like I said, I'm the type of chick, I don't be sleeping around like that. I don't need a bunch of dicks in me. I've never been like that. I've never been that type of girl, even when I'm single. So I told him, because I felt kind of guilty. Like, I had just messed around with my coworker, I think like a week or two before, and then he wanted to mess around, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I told him, I was like, you know, da 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 da. And then he tells me that when he went to on a cruise with his daughter in April, he exchanged numbers with a girl, and he flew to Florida in the month of May. And it was just so disgusting to me, because this man would not stop calling me. This man always wanted to have sex. Like, he always wanted to have sex. And so the fact that he was like messed around with somebody he met on a cruise, that bothered me, because I'm like, if you got ass and you have a new woman, why are you, I didn't understand, why are you trying to pursue me? He goes, oh, I wasn't trying to pursue you. I said, so you offered to take me out for Mother's Day. Of course he didn't do it. I ended up going out with my son. This is what he said. So he calls me Mother's Day. He's like, oh, I'm tired. I said, okay, what that has nothing to do. And that's another thing. Very selfish. For me personally, I could be tired, but if I make plans with you and I promised, and I'm the one who offered on top of that, I'm not gonna cancel on you. Like, this is the type of man he was. He would do shit like that. He's like, oh, I'll take you out around 5:30. I said, oh gee, you know that 5:30 means 11:30 to you. You don't care about me or time. I said, I'm gonna take my son out and we're gonna enjoy Mother's Day, because what you're telling me is you want me to be in a house and just sit and wait for you. Why are you like this? Why are you so selfish? Like, why are you like this? You know, I just couldn't understand. Like, we're broken up, I'm still being nice to you, and you still fucking up? Like, you offered to, and I said that, you offered to take me out. I didn't ask you to take me out. You offered to take me out Mother's Day. You know what I'm saying? And then, oh, for my birthday, right? I did a bunch of stuff like, oh, I went to the Met with my friends a week before my birthday. They enjoyed it. The restaurant, the food was good, all of that. And it was a very classy atmosphere, whatever. What else I did? I treated myself to the spa. I went to Sip and Chat in Brooklyn with my friends. My cousin came. I hadn't seen her in 10 years. And then what else did I do? I went to the museum the very next day with my cousin and my father. My son didn't want to come. And a few days before my birthday, the 9th, I went to STK Steakhouse, right? It was me, my ex, and my son. He made me pay. He never did this before. He paid the bill and he made me pay for gratuity on my birthday. And he goes, oh, the bill was kind of high. I said, the bill is usually high. Like, we go to nice places. So what are you talking about? And the funny thing is, I brought my debit card with me because I just had a feeling he was going to do some dumb shit like that. I said, you don't do no shit like that on somebody's birthday. You don't do that. Like, come on. You offered to take me out and I'm paying for gratuity. I didn't argue, I just paid it. But that's grimy. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not right. So before all of that, oh, this is another thing. It's just so much. So for 6 months, he claimed that he was broke because of Jaguar and a lot of things was going on for him financially. So when we went out for like 6 months, and I paid every time we went out, till one day I realized he was playing me. So I was like, listen, if you want to take me out, you have to pay, period. So he did. He started paying for stuff. And that was the one time he didn't pay for, I paid for gratuity or whatever on my birthday. I'm like, really? Who does that? But whatever. Then for his birthday every year, he would go to Mexico every year. We never spent his birthday together. We never spent Valentine's Day. We spent together in 2019. But every time after, it was always the weekend. It was never the day. Like, all the signs were there. Like, we never spent New Year's Eve together. Only 2 times we spent New Year's Eve together. The second time and the last time we spent New Year's Eve together, he didn't want to be there. He was like, oh, I'm supposed to be with my daughters, da 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 da. And I'm like, they grown. Like, New Year's Eve is grown people holiday. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the only time when I'm with my father is when I don't have plans. Like, my friend had texted me, and she was like, girl, I want to, she wants to party for New Year's Eve. But I'm like, no. Like, I'm 34. I'll just go to church at this point. It's like, I'm not in a partying mood. I'm getting older. And it's like, I don't feel like being in crowds. I don't feel like dealing with that. Whatever. Maybe one day when I get a new nigga and that's what he want to do, fine. But no. But, with him, he was just weird. Then he was on the phone with them. And I'm like, I just feel like that's just so rude. You know what I'm saying? I never did that to him. I started doing it to him, like, when we would, sometimes, like, my son would be asleep and we would dip out. And so my son would be like, where you at? Da, da, da. And I would tell him, but in general, I would be like, I'm out. Like, you're not supposed to pick up your phone while you out with somebody. This man used to have full-length conversations with people while he was out with me. I think that's rude. It's just rude. And then, like, that was that. And then 2022, he made me pay gratuity. And so what he said was, he finally came clean. I said, for 6 months I was paying for dates straight. I was paid every time we went out. I paid, da da da. And he said, nobody asked you. He really said, nobody asked you. He said it just like that. I said, you so right. And it taught me something. That when somebody say they broke, they not really broke. Is they feel like you are not a good investment and they don't care. So they're not going to spend money with you. That's what they're saying. I'm broke for you. But they're not really broke. That's what that... I had to learn that lesson to like, don't feel bad for people, right? I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Like he really... when I met him, I was a young lady, and now I can say I'm a real woman because I learned so many life lessons. Like, don't feel bad for people when they have a boot on their car. Don't ever pay for... Oh, that's another thing. Pay for the boot. He always paid me back, but I paid for his cell phone bills. I paid him... Like, he did pay me back. His cell phone bill was high. And everybody who has a T-Mobile phone, I feel like, has a high bill. But I didn't feel like it was fair because I'm like, your kid's mom is on this plan. It's like, why am I paying a bill that she's on? Oh, she not on a plan. She pay her own bill. How she paying her own bill? She don't have no money. She don't have no job. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and it's like, I don't understand. If you give her money, you give her an allowance, why she can't help out with the bill? Like, I don't understand. Like, why she can't help you out? Like, you giving her money, it should be, well, I can't, like, it just wasn't making sense to me. So that's when I realized he was lying to me because he was financially supporting this woman and his daughters. Like I said, even though his daughter was a lawyer, he still was giving her money for different things, right? Because she was a daddy's girl. Me, I'm not a daddy's girl. If I go through hard times, I just go through hard times. I don't have my father to go to. My father comes to me, but I can't go to him, you know. I've given my father money, thousands. Every time I have tax time, I gave him money for 7 years straight. I'm not doing that no more. But I've done it, you know. And I don't regret it because I know that my blessing is coming. And I know that my karma is coming, you know. And it has in different ways. But, yeah, so just the constant disrespect, just the, his political views. He thought that Biden was the best president we had. He thought that the Clintons was, good people. He thought the Central Park Five was guilty. It's just his way of life and his way of thinking was just... And that's another thing I wanted to say. Someone's political views is very important, y'all. I don't care what nobody say. If somebody says shit like Biden is a good president, just know that y'all, and like he said it too, we're not compatible. He smoked and he drank. I didn't allow smoking around me, but like his teeth was bad. What else? He had a rotten tooth. I had to tell him to deal with that. His teeth was like really, really yellow. Because of all the smoking for years and years. It's just so much that I tolerated from him. Just to say I had a man, like, no, ever again. And then the mistake that I made, my son looked up to him like a father. And he said that because he was here a lot. So naturally, you know, my son saw him more than his own father. He even saw him more than my father because, you know, since my son is older and stuff, he don't really go to church with my dad like that no more. It's like both their decision. My son don't really go to church like that no more. So, you know, it's like OG was like a father figure. And I tell my ladies, if I could go back into time, I would have never introduced them at all. Because he's not a good person at all. That's my biggest regret. And I never met his daughters, so that was stupid. You know, another thing about him, his daughter was in a psychiatric ward for cutting herself. And I was the one praying for him. I was the one that called the prayer line, and yeah, like I was on the, and the guy was like, oh, he needs to call here and stuff, and I said, yeah, I agree with that, like, yeah. But he was smoking and drinking instead of praying, and I was like, I don't want to be with somebody that they're gonna turn to a cigarette when they're in distress. It wasn't even my daughter, but I was the one praying. And I told him what to do. I was like, listen, you need to call her mother. She needs her mother. It's a cry for help, And he listened to me, and he got his daughter back, And it's like, then my school, they had a phone number for people that was in distress. His nephew was going through things, and I was a resource for him. Like, I constantly was a resource for him, and he was not for me. I have a criminal justice degree. He works in Brooklyn Law School. You would think he would help me get employment. No. Recently,